Jim Carrey built his legend by being the most elastic human in Hollywood. A living cartoon, a face that could break physics. A comedian that could make the entire world laugh without even saying a word. But here's the twist. As the years went on, Jim Carrey started sounding less like a comedian and more like a man trying to escape or even expose something. He started mocking celebrity worship. He started talking about meaninglessness, identity, and masks, not the movie kind, the human kind. He began treating Hollywood like a performance he no longer wanted to be a part of. And in the internet age, that's gasoline. Because the moment a celebrity hints that the machine is fake, people start asking the forbidden question, what else is the machine hiding? Today we're going to be telling Jim Carrey's story from the beginning. The poverty, the rise, the superstardom, and the unraveling. And we're also going to investigate the claim that keeps surfacing online that Carrey has been exposing Hollywood's darkest secrets, including rumors tied to elite wrongdoing and the Epstein files. But we're doing this the right way. We'll separate what Jim Carrey actually said from what the internet decided he meant. And you guys can draw those conclusions for yourself. Jim Carrey's origin story isn't glamorous, it's survival. He was born in 1962 in Ontario, Canada, and as he described later in life, the family's financial stability collapsed when his father lost what was supposed to be the safe job. Jim would later use that moment as a foundation for his entire philosophy. Security is not guaranteed. In his famous 2014 commencement speech, Carrey tells it plainly. His father could have been a great comedian, but chose the safe route and still got laid off. And Carrey says the lesson is brutal and simple. You can fail at what you don't want, so you might as well take a shot at what you love. This matters because it explains the theme that keeps repeating in Carrey's life. The world tries to force a role on you, and Jim Carrey refuses roles. As a teen, he performed stand-up in Toronto, including early appearances tied to Yuck Yucks. And he wasn't instantly great. There's a myth that legends are born finished, but comedy doesn't work like that. You bomb, you rebuild, you learn timing, rhythm, danger. And Carrey's early gift wasn't just jokes, it was impressions. He could become other people, which is ironic because later he starts preaching that becoming other people is exactly what destroys you. So the kid learns a superpower. If reality is scary, you can shapeshift. And that was his first mask. By the time America really discovers Jim Carrey, it looks like an overnight success. But it wasn't. It's years of repetition, stage work, and building a persona so powerful it can't be ignored. Then 1994 happens. In 1 year, Carrey becomes a cultural event. He dropped Ace Ventura, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber. It's not just hit movies, it's a takeover. His comedy is loud, physical, fearless. He's not trying to be liked, he's trying to be unforgettable. And here's the hidden cost of that kind of stardom. When the world rewards you for a character, it starts paying you to never stop being that character. So Carrey does what very few people are able to do. He pivots. He starts seeking roles that are less funny man and more human being trapped inside of a system. And that takes us to one of the most important films of this entire story. In The Truman Show, Carrey plays a man living in a perfectly designed world. A world that is fake, controlled by unseen producers, cameras, and narrative manipulation. And whether you love the conspiracy culture or if you hate it, you cannot deny this. The Truman Show is the exact metaphor the internet later uses to interpret Jim Carrey himself. Because after this era, his public persona begins to change. He's still funny, but there's a new undertone. He's aware of the performance. He's aware of the cameras. He's aware of the machine. And once you become aware of the machine, you start doing something dangerous in Hollywood. you might start talking like you don't need it. Now Carrey did a viral bit on Jimmy Kimmel Live playing with the idea of a secret hand sign and the Illuminati. Now, some people look at this as if it were a bit, while others look at it as him exposing things that he had seen or known about the darker side of Hollywood. In 2014, Jim Carrey goes on Jimmy Kimmel Live and does a segment where he jokes about Illuminati symbols and being a whistleblower. And as I just stated, some people believe that this wasn't a bit at all, and I challenge you to let us know down below what you think. Was it an act, or was it a warning?
Is that a gang sign? Have you,
Oh, like you don't know what it is. You don't know what that is.
I have no idea.
You don't know. Jimmy Fallon doesn't know. David Letterman doesn't know.
We don't know.
All the comics and show business don't know what this is. Right? Yeah.
What is it?
Come on, Jimmy. Seriously, the time is up. People are hip to this kind of stuff. I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. It is the secret symbol of the illuminati, and you're a part of it, and it is the all-mocking tongue.
Now, if you watch it like a normal human being, it plays like a comedic riff. Carrey exaggerating, trolling, mocking the obsession with secret symbols. But if you watch it like someone who already believes Hollywood is run by hidden networks, then the exact same clip becomes proof. And back in 2014, when he was on the show, everyone looked at it as a bit. But now, with all of the information coming out regarding the Epstein files, people are looking a lot deeper. So what matters isn't just what he said, but the reaction that he received. Because this is one of the first mainstream moments where the internet begins to treat Jim Carrey like a man sending code messages, not a comedian doing his show. And that sets the stage for what happened next. In 2017, Jim Carrey gives a rare red carpet interview at the New York Fashion Week where he says things like, "There's no meaning to anything of this. He came to find the most meaningless thing. And I don't believe in icons."
There's no meaning to any of this. So I wanted to find the most meaningless thing that I could come to and join, and here I am.
They're
I
celebrating.
mean, you got to admit it's completely meaningless.
Well, they say they're celebrating icons inside.
Celebrating
Do you believe in
icons, boy,
icons?
that is just the absolute lowest aiming, possibility that we could come up with. It's like icons. Do you believe in icons? I don't believe in personalities. I don't believe that you exist, but there is a wonderful fragrance in the air.
You don't believe certain icons have the power to make change, to think differently, to be bold, to inspire others? Artistry, you're one of them.
On the good foot. Ha! Yeah. You shut her down now.
This is where the tone changes. Because this isn't a punchline delivered like a punchline. It's a man looking straight into the celebrity machine and saying, "I reject the premise." And this becomes a key receipt for internet communities who later claim he was warning us. Now, before I go any further, I need to let all of you know that there's no credible evidence that Jim Carrey was any part of Jeffrey Epstein's world or his network in any way. We don't see his name in any of the files. We don't see him anywhere except for his signaling trying to warn us that something was actually going on. So why is his name pulled into the story? Because after hearing and learning about Epstein, the public started rewatching celebrity culture like it was a crime scene. And Jim Carrey's anti-Hollywood, anti-icon, the world is fake messaging made him the perfect canvas for projection. Now let's break down what we actually know and how this myth got built. When Epstein's case exploded into public consciousness, it rewired how millions of people interpret fame. Because Epstein wasn't just a criminal, he was a symbol of something the public already suspected, that power protects itself. From that moment on, people weren't simply watching entertainment, they were auditing it. They were scanning interviews, award shows, jokes, looking for cracks in the facade. So now, any celebrity who criticizes Hollywood gets reclassified in real time. They're not just critical, they're exposing. And Jim Carrey becomes one of the biggest targets for that reinterpretation. People point to the Kimmel segment and say, look, he said it out loud. But here's the honest analysis. Comedians will often talk about taboo topics. Carrey has a long history of anti-celebrity satire, and this segment fits the pattern. What's important is not that he confirmed anything, it's that he normalized the idea that Hollywood is theatrical, symbolic, and obsessed with image. But again, maybe he was actually exposing. People also retrofit The Truman Show into a literal blueprint, producers controlling reality. But that film is a metaphor, a warning about surveillance, media manipulation, and artificial living. It's not an affidavit, it's a story. When he says he doesn't believe in icons, that becomes an internet logic. He's rejecting the idols because he knows what the idols do. But the verifiable reading is simpler. Carrey is rejecting celebrity worship. From 2018 onward, Carrey becomes extremely outspoken through political art and commentary. Major coverage includes profiles of the anti-Trump cartoons and his framing that he's done with dishonesty and lies. This is where Carrey becomes genuinely dangerous to certain people. Not because he's exposing Epstein, but because he's attacking public figures and institutions aggressively in a way that doesn't need Hollywood approval. He's using art as a weapon. He's bypassing the studio system. He's talking directly to the public. And that's the crucial distinction.
Jim, you've been posting a lot of political drawings.
Yeah.
Why?
have?
Even though, my cartoons might be a little crass, I'm being crass because I believe that we need to be crass right now in a way, and yet with kindness, with love, we have to express this horrible feeling that we have.
I just go to work and cry in every scene.
Jim Carrey's real call-out isn't a secret trafficking allegation. It's a cultural accusation that society rewards performance, deception, and manufactured reality. And if you want to argue that this connects spirituality to the post-Epstein distrust of elites, that's a fair discussion. Now, many of us believe that Jim Carrey opened up and shared what he knew about Hollywood's upper elite and politicians, potentially even exposing Jeffrey Epstein. But what all of this lacks is verified documentation linking Jim Carrey to Epstein. What we do know about Jim Carrey is that he was resistant to celebrity worship, and he did know of dark things going on in Hollywood. And in some way, he was trying to share that. Now we get to the current controversy, the current conspiracy. On February 26, 2026, Jim Carrey appeared at France's César Awards to receive an honorary award and delivered a speech in French. Almost immediately, social media exploded with claims that the person on stage wasn't him, and that it was a stand-in, an imposter, or even a clone.
Merci à ma merveilleuse famille. À ma fille Jane et à mon petit-fils Jackson. Je vous aime maintenant et pour toujours.
Jim Carrey, is that you? Because the internet's convinced it's a doppelganger or even a clone.
There's magic in the universe.
Yeah, fans questioning if Jim's newish look is some sort of magic trick after the 64-year-old debuted longer locks, seemingly lighter eyes, and a fuller face at the César Awards in Paris, where he was given a top honor.
Merci à ma sublime compagnie, Mina. Je t'aime, Mina.
Now, since that, things have been verified, if you want to believe that. Carrey's representative said that it was him. They confirmed it was Jim Carrey on stage. But wouldn't they say that if that's what he wanted them to say? The César Award officials dismissed the imposter theory and said the appearance had been planned for months. And throughout those months, Jim Carrey was working on his speech and presenting it in French. Now, many conspiracy theories have been thrown out there. The question is, what do you believe? There have actually been images that have popped up since that award show that showed Jim Carrey in current time now looking nothing like he looked at the award show. So was it a body double standing in for Jim Carrey? Does Jim Carrey have a clone to go to events like this so he doesn't need to attend? Or was he abducted and in a place that he didn't want to be during the time of that event? This controversy becomes the modern proof of concept. The world is treating celebrity like a surveillance puzzle, and Jim Carrey, the man who starred in The Truman Show, is now being watched like Truman. Jim Carrey didn't need to name names to make people feel uncomfortable or even exposed. He mocked the symbols. He rejected the icons. He questioned the meaning of the performance itself. And after everything coming to light regarding the Epstein files, the public has stopped trusting the stage. So maybe the real reason people want Jim Carrey to be an exposer is simple. Because if the funniest man alive looked at the machine and called it meaningless, maybe the machine really is.